at 10. Now, former Senator Gary Hart. Recently, he toured Washington to promote his latest book, The Minuteman, Restoring an Army of the People. We joined him as he visited a local bookstore to sign copies of the book. Later, we travel with him to Capitol Hill as he appears on a CNN program. Gary Hart is the author of several previous books and served in the U.S. Senate from 1975 to 1987 as a Democrat from Colorado.
Nice to meet you. Welcome.
So that should tell you how long ago.
This
It used to be over here.
this was the
Yeah,
store. This
exactly.
half was a video store. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
So we're happy. It's one of the cases of
And-
books taking over videos.
Yeah, you didn't have this, did you?
We
Or
did
you?
downstairs, and there's a coffee house back there.
But
Yeah.
that's new, or is it?
Yeah. No. New as of about 5 years ago.
Yeah. I think I was this when I was here. It was 3 or 4 books ago, and I did the coffee meeting.
Oh, downstairs.
It seemed like it was in the back.
Yeah,
that
we
way.
used to. It used to be people all the way back here,
Yeah,
of course,
exactly.
because it was only half, and now we have a nice space back there. So
What's this one?
this is tonight's. It's a collection of writings about the controversy in the Enola Gay exhibit, the Smithsonian. Yeah. And Kai Bird lives here. He's the editor.
Interesting.
Here
That's
in
brand
town.
new, isn't it? Or is
Yeah,
it?
it's just been out a few months.
Huh, isn't that interesting? Oh, it's been out a few months.
A little bit.
I
Yeah.
haunt bookstores and I haven't seen it, so I'm embarrassed.
Well, it just seems like yesterday you had a book. I saw you at the booksellers convention a couple of years ago.
Well, I
And
did.
the time flies.
I had one called, it's kind of a companion to this one called The Patriot. It's also free press.
So
Can I look around or do I have to get
Absolutely.
around? Can I?
you can browse, and then when you're ready, we can. I'd love it if you could sign some of yours.
I will.
We have them on display in a couple of places, so I can help you find them.
Channel, let's maybe do that first,
Maybe I do
because
that.
we only have 10 minutes now.
Sure. Let me show you where they are.
My slave driver.
Yeah. If you want to have a.
I just bought, have you read that?
I have
I
it.
just bought it. He's got a new one that was so well reviewed that I bought that one.
Yeah. People have loved that book, so. If you want to have a seat on this sofa, I can get you the rest.
Okay.
You want to see where we have them? Back here in the.
Just so they're above the waistline.
They are above the waist. They're above some of our heads.
Oh, yeah, eye level for, yeah, that's grand, thank you.
On the trail in the center here.
Okay.
I never know whether.
This is Barbara Mead, one of the owners.
Great pleasure.
Hi there, I'm Barbara Mead.
Yes,
I'm one of the
pleasure.
owners here. Well, it's a pleasure
I was
for us
just,
to.
I was just reflecting. First of all, I haven't seen the expanded bookstore. And I
Uh-huh.
gave a talk here
I know you
2 or
did.
3 books ago, I think.
Yeah.
May have been the Russian book.
I can't remember what it was, but I do remember when you
Back
came.
there and the
yeah,
crowd was
and
just-
it was a kind of a tunnel-like effect
Exactly.
because now we took down a wall
Yeah.
and took over this door next
Yeah.
door. So
I have to pay you a compliment because this bookstore always, when I lived here, always reminded me of Tattered Cover.
Tattered Cover.
Yeah.
well,
Which, as
I've
you
been
know,
to the
is
Tattered Cover many times. It certainly is
It's a
a
spectacular-
a spectacular bookstore, and like all independents, that we're all just working twice as hard to, but successfully so.
good for you.
Of,
Well, keep our fingers
yeah,
crossed.
I get out the Tattered Cover a lot because I have a little house in Ridgeway. Do you know
Oh,
Ridgeway?
sure, I sure do. How often do you
And
come out?
so, 3 or 4 times a year.
Do you? Good for you. Well, as you know, Joyce has moved downtown. She's got
Yeah.
now got 2 big bookstores.
Yeah.
4 stores,
Yeah.
3-story
Yeah.
bookstores. It's fabulous.
That's great.
I don't know what the magic is, but
Well, she's a tremendous book person. She really is. I mean, she's a real role model to everybody who's in independent bookselling.
yeah.
So,
Well, I hope she and you prevail.
well, this is great to have you come by.
Oh, it's a pleasure, always. I wish
My
I,
partner Carla, I know, is going to be coming up. We just got a lot of samples, free samples for the coffee house. And so,
Ooh.
if you could come down and sample, if you and then you can.
I am already so wired.
We have three kinds of chicken salads, hummus, and
I wish I'd known
tabbouleh,
that.
and you can come down and have a cup of coffee too.
Thanks.
Sounds good.
I get my caffeine up till about 1 in the afternoon, and then I have to quit. I
Oh, really?
lay awake all night.
I hear Carla's voice on the stairs now, so I know she.
Well, let me get this out of the way.
Here she comes.
Is it a good idea to date these or not?
No.
I've never known. No?
No.
Okay.
No.
Sorry.
That's okay.
How many stores are you all going to?
Just you.
Just you, yeah.
That's nice.
I do a book evening Monday night at the Tattered Cover.
Oh, really?
They have
This
a book.
come-
They have a book there every night.
Yeah, we do too.
Do you?
We have something every evening here. And we haven't done anything on Saturday, but now we're going to go into Saturday evening also.
Are you?
Maybe something that's a little bit lighter on Saturday evening. That appeals to a general crowd. No foreign policy on Saturday evening.
A little lighter.
A little lighter, that's right.
That's
And,
funny.
Carla's a little bit different from me. Carla thinks foreign policy is fun, I think, or public policy is fun.
Public policy. How are you?
Hi, nice to see you.
Pleasure.
Gary.
Nice to see you. How are you?
How's everything?
Good.
Good.
Congratulations on the new store.
Oh,
I
thanks.
date myself by saying
Senator Hart hasn't been here
I haven't
since,
seen it since it was expanded, but I remember the narrow one. We
Well,
were,
this is the same one, only a little bigger.
this is the Washington version of the Tattered Cover. I
That's
think.
right.
Yeah.
That's what we like to think. We're proud to be thought of that way.
Well, we do have this in common with the Tattered Cover. In the 14 years we've been open, we've done nothing but grow
Yeah.
and expand. And actually, we're headed into our newest expansion now. We were just sitting down yesterday talking with our landlord and the guy who's the contractor on the job. We're going to put in another 1,500 square feet.
Where are you?
Where?
We're indeed.
We'll worry about that later.
Well, we're going to shoehorn it in the back of the liquor store, which there's a little part of the lot isn't developed, so we're going to take that part of the lot.
Oh, so build a new structure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be,
Yeah, it'll be a new
it'll
structure.
be a new structure.
Oh, great.
How much of your success is your location? Or is
A
it
lot.
Is it?
Oh, sure. Wonderful
we're
location.
we have a very high socioeconomic educational level, extremely high here.
Well, I think it's more than that too. I think there are a lot of writers that live here, a lot of journalists, and a lot of people who write for a living, and they appreciate having a store they can drop into where they're knowledgeable people and they can have fun in the store.
Yeah.
I just came from a hardware store, one of those big box stores, and it was just awful. And I said, I'm so happy to be back in politics and prose. So I think that people appreciate what we can offer and are willing to, forgo some of the benefits that the chains have.
Yeah. Well, we were talking yesterday, not to raise a sensitive issue with you, but how you were doing compared to Chapters, for example. I like Chapters a lot.
Yeah, it's a great store.
Yeah.
It's a
Lovely
nice store, but the one thing Carla didn't mention about what that we have going for us is that we're relatively protected from any other large commercial superstores going in around us just because of that there are no buildings that size here. Chapters has not been so lucky. They've had that big Borders that has gone in downtown,
Yep.
and that has hurt them. It
Has
hurt
it?
them a great deal.
I
Whereas,
think another thing that we are lucky about, which is that we can have long hours
Yep.
from
Yeah.
9 to
Yeah,
10:30 at
exactly,
night, and
exactly.
so that our rent gets amortized over 7 days a week. So I think we're open something like 105 hours.
Sunday's our second biggest day
Yeah.
of the week,
Is it?
whereas
Yeah.
Sunday Chapters is closed
Right.
because you wouldn't be able to get any business
Right.
downtown.
Exactly.
So I think that's
Well,
really
that's
helped us a lot. I
interesting.
think if Chapters had located in a more suburban area or a more
Yeah.
uptown urban area, they would have been better off.
But you do feel, I mean, the atmosphere there is like here. You do feel
Yeah.
you're among people who love books.
Yeah.
You just have that feeling,
Yeah.
and you don't in the chains, the big.
No, their
Supermarket ones.
motivation is something different.
It's a volume.
Yeah.
Well,
So you're traveling
Okay.
around for this book?
I am. Book promotion is becoming more,
Well.
as you know, more and more complex. You know, I've done this 18 city in the old days. I've done those old-fashioned ones. Now, next week, I sit in my office and do the telephone call-ins, which is not hard at all.
But it's Monday night you're going to do the Tatter cover.
Tatter cover on Monday night.
That'll be wonderful.
Okay.
Well, I always get a couple hundred people.
That's great.
Okay. Well, sometime you'll have to come to Telluride, because the reason I have a house in Ridgeway is I own an interest in a bookstore in Telluride.
Do you?
So if you ever come to Telluride,
Do you?
we'll put on a signing for you there.
Lovely.
Well, it was wonderful to see
I'm
you.
gonna look at your new books, if I may.
There's a
Good to see you again.
Nonfiction is behind you.
yeah. Is did the Ron Suskind book come? City about it.
When's it due? Or we should call about that. Oh, you are. Well, there's plenty of other books. What is the book?
How hopeless was that?
Michael?
Maybe I should give a call about it.
Barbara might come down there. We should get you a house. What's your last name?
Hi, Joe. Someone else in the
Going on defense and military reform.
Look for it. We haven't heard from you for a while. It's good to-
Yeah, I try to get one out every couple of years, whether it sells or not.
Senator Hart, how do you
Nice
do?
to see
Very
you.
nice to meet you.
Feeding us all the samples.
Can I ask you a political question?
Sure.
With regard to the India?
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
It's very hard to know when you're don't have access to the briefings, the intelligence briefings. The Indians, I understand today, are out saying they did this out of necessity to defend themselves against China's cooperation with Pakistan to develop new generations of missiles and warheads. Whether that's true or not, I don't know.
Call me at
Second thing, I think the reaction's a little bit hysterical, but not, but it ought to be serious. It's a big negative. We used to defend our testing on the grounds that, or the military did, on the grounds that to test a new generation of warheads is to replace older, unstable ones. That an argument, we used to argue on our behalf that the testing was to make the warheads safer in a way. That the longer they sit on the shelf, the older they get, the more unstable they become. And so by testing, the argument is you make them safer. Well, I never quite bought that. But the problem of being a nuclear power is that you have to be very careful against hypocrisy, is the point. What do you think?
Well, I don't know really what to think except that it surprises me that we were caught off guard. And I'm curious, in terms of where you think the buck stops, who should have been...
The agency and the Defense Intelligence Agency, the CIA and the Defense Intelligence Agency. They had all their satellites looking at Iraq, I think. But as a former member of the Armed Services Committee and the Intelligence Committee, what is troubling is the $30 billion we spend for all of this collection. And it looks as if they can't walk and chew gum at the same time. If we're worried about Iraq, we got to look at Iraq and we can't look at anything else. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
And the party in power, after the election, said, as part of its platform, we're going to modernize our nuclear capability. So, it's not like they didn't say what they were going to do. That's a clear warning to start watching.
Right. And how do you think that translates now in terms of this administration, this Pentagon, these guys? Because I know there's a lot of discussion about excess spending, right? But we are spending the money, or investing the money, hopefully. And I'm just curious as to, it seems like we're not, precisely, and we've lost our position on our watch, so to speak.
I'm not sure that's, just because you have a Cold War military 8 years after the end of the Cold War, and spend $250 billion on it doesn't mean people are going to do what you tell them to do. I mean, we've never been able to, because we're not an aggressor, translate military power into diplomatic behavior. I mean, that's why the stealth bombers, the nuclear arsenal, all the rest never made sense to me, because you can't use it. Everybody knows you can't use it. And even if they were afraid that we might use it, they're probably going to go ahead and do it anyway. I mean, what are we going to do? Bomb Delhi?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So what do you do with all this stuff on the shelf? I mean, the world knows. And let's say the real threat of the 21st century, 19-year-olds in urban high-rises, the gangs and the clans and so on, they're not scared of nuclear weapons either, because they know you're not going to use it on them either. So it's like we're muscle-bound, you know. We got a lot of power, but we can't use it. And nobody pays attention. I'm done.
Okay, anyway, nice meeting you.
I'll see you soon.
All right.
Thanks.
Hey, bye, Barbara. Bye, Carla.
Thanks.
Thanks so much for coming
I'll see you soon.
Bye-bye. Great to see you.
What do we got now? Is this CNN?
This is CNN Talkback Live. This is going to be out of. It's going to be out of Atlanta,
Yeah.
and you'll be here via satellite. I mean, you do these things all the time, so you know
Yeah.
just to look in the camera.
Yeah.
Pretend it's a person.
I'll tell you a very strange thing. They, as you well know, they now, on programs like this, they do pre-interviews.
Right.
So they say, if you get asked this, what are you going to say? Well, I've always thought, that's going to crush spontaneity. Who needs to know? I thought the whole idea was get on the air, somebody asks you a question, and then maybe you might say something interesting. But it's a control thing. It's strange.
Well, it's one of the reasons is, I think, so just so that the host, who aren't often familiar with the book, so they know a little bit, so they don't look too stupid. So they know a little bit.
She didn't ask me though about the book. This woman called from Atlanta. She didn't ask me about the book. She asked about my views on the Indian nuclear testing, which I gave to her. But I'm thinking to myself, why does the host have to know that ahead of time? What advantage does that give him? It's like Koppel may still do, I don't know, but in previous years, Koppel's program, Nightline, when you came on the show, it was all split screen, Koppel and the guest. Right. And it was as if everybody was somewhere else, but in fact they were 10 feet away. They were in another room. And I did this several times, and I thought to myself, what's going on here? Why does he do this? And I think it was, in a curious way, some bizarre control.
Oh, it's total control. It's that you're not, because when you have a person in your studio, one, you have to be nicer to them. You can't, when you're face to face with someone, it's harder to be, antagonistic. But when it's a blank screen that you're talking to, you can easily attack.
Beat up on them.
Yeah.
I just thought it was strange. In the first time or two, it was just I was still in the Senate, and I just thought, well, this is, I guess, is necessity. Didn't turn out to be necessity at all.
Yeah.
He's 10 feet away, and the viewer thinks he's 100 miles, 1,000 miles away. Very odd. We had a bunch of dogs in our house. Some new ones came, and they got in a scrap in the kitchen. My wife reached down to separate them and got her hands bit. So I was coming home from work. I heard about this. I met her at the hospital, and she's getting her hands sewn up. So I'm trying to. There's this doctor sewing for her, and I was just making conversation to kind of get everybody's mind, because there was some pain involved in this. And so I think I had a book out, or somehow the subject came to books. And this doctor who was sewing away said, why do you think that the Millie book is selling better than Bush's? And I said, because Millie wrote hers. And I hate to pat myself on the back, but I thought it was a good line.
It is a good line. Yeah. But see, that's another thing is everyone has to write a book or have a book written in their name for the prestige of having
know.
being an author.
It's an ego, yeah. A lot of politicians do that. It's an ego thing. I was amazed the number of politicians that didn't read books. You know, now one of the few people left that reads books and writes books is Moynihan. Pat Moynihan is one of the few
He's a brilliant
literate
guy.
He's a very brilliant guy, very good politician, but he's literate. He knows books. He reads books. He's thoughtful. He writes books. And he represents the state of New York. Now, if he can do it, why can't other people do it? The standard, when most politicians put a book out, it's done by the staff. You know, they sit down, they say, I want a book on the economy, or
These are the points.
you know, yeah, here are the basic points. Now bring me back a draft.
I heard that Newt Gingrich reads books. Or is it just certain
He
genre?
used to. Well, he used to. I tell you what his forte was military history. When I first met him, he came to the Congress in the early 80s, and I formed something called the Military Reform Caucus. Newt joined up. I mean, I think it was his first term, and I was very impressed with his mind. I thought he had a very good mind, and he knew history. He could, he could cogently and persuasively work historic references into his discourse. It wasn't like, he'd memorized
Still did, something that he'd been told, line that he'd been told, and
it was spontaneous with him. I think he's gotten more, since he's gotten a leadership position, more rhetorical and more egotistical. But he has a pretty good mind. Sorry.
That's right, I got
There was a Hollywood movie about cameras, taking pictures of cameras, taking pictures of cameras.
No, that's a little
House of Mirrors.
crazy after a while.
Do hate the makeup.
But they might just do a little bit of powder. What they do is they just don't want to shine.
I know. They never do a little.
Hi there. How
Hi,
you doing?
Richard. Senator Hart, Susan Toffler.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
We have a couple minutes. How did politics and prose go?
Oh, good. That wasn't a talk. It was just a book signing.
Yeah, good. Well, that's good. Hi. Susan Toffler. Thank you very much. You're all set. You're all set.
Senator, my name is Nayo Zaidi. Good to see you.
Great pleasure. Nice to see
After a
you.
long
Paul
time.
Peachy, nice to meet you.
Okay, I'll explain to you about the show. Yeah. Hey, you just saw him the other day, didn't you?
Hi, Senator. Here I am. I'm following you. I'm stalking you.
You're as
Nice to
ubiquitous
see
as
you
I
again. Well, did you notice that one guy who called in sounded just like Chuck Grassley? That guy Ben from Amory, Miss. I'm sure that all of these things blend into
Hi, I'm
like
Susan.
one.
Oh,
How are you? Thank
Chuck
you very,
Grassley
very
has a
much.
very distinctive voice.
That's all right.
Yeah, he sounded just like him. He was from Mississippi.
Chuck Grassley sounds a little like Walter Matthau.
Right. I saw that item in the paper about your the Sperling breakfast.
Yes.
Boy,
It was-
what was that? 3 paragraphs?
No, they're all in makeup.
The Washington Post.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I thought it was just quintessentially Washington Post.
Yes, we know that.
Very,
Thanks. Bye.
very kind of cynical.
Hi. Makeup.
Can't
Yes.
wait.
Yeah, but you won't run for president again. That's the
Yeah,
only
we know.
thing. That was the
Thank you.
payoff at the end of the.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Well, I think it was even no public office.
Yeah, well, we're gonna
I don't think it was just president.
Well, will you run for public office again?
No, I would like to do some public service or something, but I don't have any ambition for a quote political career, or particularly elected one. Never did, actually.
But are you saying that ruefully, as the Washington Post reported?
No.
I didn't detect any ruefulness
Well, that's the
about
other,
that.
it's those adjectives.
Right. Right. You're next.
Okay.
Good to see you
We're
again.
gonna go
Skip, I'll be back.
Okay, this is.
I'm gonna start bringing. Okay,
Hair day.
just for you to know.
Skip.
How you doing?
How you doing? Good.
to see you.
You're a little light on the makeup on this one.
He's gonna be on first.
Now, I tell you, the great challenge
He's gonna be on first, and then he's gonna get up
is,
and leave it at about 8 or 9
I'm
after.
told,
And
my
then we're
eyes
gonna get
disappear.
seated. So I'm
So
gonna
you
bring
know
you
how
into
to
the
prevent
studio
that
to
from
stand there
happening.
for the first block. So
Okay.
that it makes it easier to switch out.
Okay.
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 Oh, God. Not the camera doing the makeup.
I know, this is not the time.
It's embarrassing enough.
Ron Kessler.
Oh, Ron.
You actually can stand here for a second. I'm gonna bring you
Hey, Paul?
Yes.
Could you get the names of the other guests? Because I got some of them.
Birds incident. The birds that surround birds. Is that not in your book? Oh, I thought it was your book. There's some story about some of the guards walking off and some of the ceramic birds.
You got a rundown? Because I mean, it's right there.
Okay. Ron Kessler is one of the guys. He's the one who did inside the CIA, inside the FBI, inside the White House.
Which one of those?
He's he had the darker hair.
Was he sitting down?
Sitting down. He was sitting down.
On the phone?
Yes. Okay. The other guy is it's
Everybody at 3 o'clock.
Riaz Khokhar. He's the Pakistani ambassador to the U.S.
The man that I shook hands with?
Yeah, that's. Wait, no. Wait, sorry, that was Nizar Zaidi. That was a Pakistani journalist.
Oh, okay.
And then the other guy, there's a woman who's going to be on. I think her name's Aziz Hanifa. She's going to be in Atlanta. She's with India. India Abroad.
Is she down there or here?
No, she's down there in Atlanta.
Want to brush?
Yeah, I'll do it. It's a cheap toupee, so.
Yeah, right.
I got to do it myself.
And I gotta give you an earpiece too when you finish. Excuse me.
On the region?
Yeah.
Asia.
I'm not sure on the region, but
Spray.
Do the name.
Okay. We'll give you an earpiece.
Okay. Do I get to keep it?
You want a left?
Yeah. A lefty.
Stop over here.
Love that window.
listen. Sorry, the woman in Atlanta's name is Seema Galut.
We're ready when you are.
All right.
Okay.
You're waiting for me?
No.
Hold the show for me, would you?
All right.
Okay, would you like me to hold your phone?
No, I'm going to take the phone because I may want to make some calls.
Okay, sure.
You're a little scared.
If things get slow.
Right, I'm not interested in this anymore. Hi.
I'll just say what I have to say, and then I'll make something else.
Hi. Well, there certainly is a lot to talk about with this. Now, just to know that you're sitting next to Ron Kessler. He's the guy who wrote, Inside the all those books. They're introducing you right